Thank you. Thank you, Reverend. Your Excellencies and distinguished guests, good morning. Good morning. Thank you for coming to this important side event. On the 70th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, it is fitting to remind ourselves of those human rights to which everyone is entitled, without distinction of any kind, such as race, color, sex, language, religion, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or other status. That's from Article 2 of the Universal Declaration. The New York Declaration, which is the basis for the two global compacts, one on refugees and one on safe, orderly, and regular migration, reaffirms the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The signatories of the New York Declaration express an important commitment, and I quote, "We reaffirm and will fully protect the human rights of all refugees and migrants, regardless of status. All are right holders." End of quote. On the 3rd of May this year, representatives of different faith traditions met in New York to present their views on the global compacts based on their faith. The extraordinary convergence on key points is evident in the concluding statement titled Interfaith Declaration on the Human Rights and Dignity of Migrants and Refugees. I want to share some of those points. The declaration states, "We call to mind that while we recognize the national sovereignty of states, all human beings at and within their borders deserve to be treated with dignity and respect, and to be assured recognition of their human rights, including access to services needed to realize those rights, regardless of their migratory status and in accordance with the common good and international law." That's the end of the quote. So it's clear that this echoes Article 1 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which states, "All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights." And Article 2 that states, "No distinction shall be made on the basis of the political, jurisdictional, or international status of the country or territory to which a person belongs, whether it be independent, trust, non-self-governing, or under any other limitation of sovereignty." That's the second article. So on behalf of the various Christian organizations, I call on governments to keep their commitments and to reaffirm that all migrants and refugees, regardless of status, must have safe access to services such as information, shelter, health, education, civil registration, as well as effective access to justice. No migrant and refugee, independently of its status, should be left behind. Based on the experience of Christian organizations, limiting the access to services, labor rights, and justice does not prevent irregular migration. It just exposes more people to precarious situations and irregularity, with negative impact on public health and safety, social cohesion, gender equality, and child rights. It is detrimental to any society or community to have a group of people who are left behind. Thus, together with representatives from other faiths, we, And I quote from the declaration, "We ask states to consider expanding legal pathways so that migrants and refugees do not fall prey to smugglers and traffickers, to exploitation and abuse. We urge all to focus on protecting and securing durable solutions for all, in particular for those in vulnerable situations, such as separated and unaccompanied children, women at risk, victims of human trafficking, or those otherwise unsafe on the move in host countries, or unable to return safely to their countries of origin." End of quote. If you're interested in the fuller Interfaith Declaration, it is available. But at this juncture, we draw your attention to other specific points. First, as networks of faith-based organizations working with refugees and migrants all over the world, we believe the principle of non-refoulement should be included in both global compacts. The principle states that no person should be rejected or expelled in a way that compels him or her to remain in or return to a territory where there is likelihood of being subjected to torture, persecution, and other violations of human rights. Second point, as networks of faith-based organizations, we bear witness to the fact that disasters and climate change are already significant drivers of displacement and migration. Refugees and migrants are often those hardest hit by these phenomena. While recognizing that all possible measures must be taken to avoid displacement linked to disasters and climate change, it is also necessary to support strategies to ensure that people who are forced to move can do so safely, with dignity, and on their own terms. Third, I would like to echo the words of our Apostolic Nuncio, Archbishop Ivan Jurkovic, present here, who participated in the consultations on the global compacts on refugees. And I quote him, "Rather than placing the focus on the economic aspects only, it is important to put the human person at the center of our considerations. We want to underline the importance of promoting, alongside economic opportunities, also national policies and laws required for safe and lawful employment, as well as for livelihood strategies, especially in ensuring safeguards against abuse and exploitation and legal protections." End of quote. The centrality of the human person. The fourth point, as a network of faith-based organizations, we would like to see a commitment to the best interest of children. There should be better alternatives to the separation of children from their parents and their detention. And fifth, we also appeal not to reduce the assistance of people of goodwill to migrants and refugees to life-saving assistance only. This undermines solidarity. Those who help migrants and refugees should never be criminalized for an act of humanity and solidarity. As we call for an effective plan of implementation of the two global compacts, plan of implementation, the faith-based organizations offer our support through our capillary networks of faith communities and organizations engaged in welcoming the stranger for hundreds of years. An experience for hundreds of years to seize this singular opportunity for cooperative action among states and relevant stakeholders to respond better to mass movements of peoples. We will help to correct the increasingly negative view of migrants and refugees spreading in our time. For the members of Caritas Internationalis, with hundreds of thousands of practitioners who work to build stronger communities every day, inspiration comes from a global 2-year campaign called Share the Journey, launched together with Pope Francis on the 27th of September 2017, to live out the culture of encounter in local communities where migrants depart from, pass through, and arrive in. Our ecumenical and interfaith partners and non-religious organizations are invited to join and to embrace the message of creating and living the culture of personal encounter. We repeat, they are not numbers. They are human beings to be encountered. We thank the International Detention Coalition, sensitizing people about the issue of detention and constantly advocating for an end, especially to the detention of children. 9 months since the launch of Share the Journey, we have been witnessing a growing number of initiatives and actions that can start a series of daily gestures, like sharing a meal or sharing stories. A culture is built and promoted only by repeated acts of virtue. Through Share the Journey and the Global Week of Action, from the 17th to the 24th of June this year, we remind the world that we are one human family and that together we can generate a wave of solidarity to wash away indifference and inhumanity. That's the tidal wave that we need, not the tidal wave created by climate change. Last June 11 and to the 13th, 2000, Caritas Brazil had an international conference on migration in Brasilia, where hopes, tears, dreams, fears, and cultures were shared and received in the promise of a new world. On exactly the same days, Caritas Asia had a gathering in Bangkok on the same theme, against the backdrop of the displacement of peoples from countries in Asia to other Asian countries. Forced migration could either unite us or divide us. We hope that migrants could provide human bridges between cultures, religions, and nations. I am sorry if I have to make this announcement. I celebrated my birthday last week, the 21st of June. And my birthday fell within the Global Week of Action of Share the Journey. As has been the custom in Manila, I did not organize a birthday party. I don't organize birthday parties. People can come anytime to the Archbishop's residence and share whatever is available. Many people bring or send food on my birthday, and we serve the food to whoever would come. This year, more than 500 people came to my residence from various sectors of society, including street children and orphans. But I organized one part of the unorganized party. I invited migrants to have lunch with me. 2 missionary sisters from Spain, 1 missionary sister from Colombia. a medical student from Cambodia, one radiology intern from Nepal, a refugee family from Marawi in Mindanao, southern Philippines, that lost everything because of the siege. Two persons from southern Philippines, Mindanao, who were looking for jobs in Manila, and two Filipino seafarers spending 3 months on the seas and touching land very seldom, away from home. As we shared food that came from many well-wishers, we also shared each other's stories, struggles, vulnerabilities, strengths, and hopes. At the end of the meal and storytelling, I asked them what they found significant in the experience. Their unanimous answer was, we see ourselves in each other, in each other's stories and difficulties. We are really one family. After hearing that, I concluded the meal by saying, this is Share the Journey in action. Go and do the same. Thank you for your attention.